Women, what are some questions you've always wanted to ask men, but were too embarrassed? For more infotainment, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon to get new video updates. Thanks for watching. Is it true that guys generally hesitate or avoid going up to and talking women that are super attractive? I mean like a 9 or a 10/10. Is attractiveness/appearance something that makes you stall when shooting your shot? I haven't seen any other responses that mention this, so I'll throw it out there. I've had more than one attractive friend bemoan her lack of male attention when she goes out, but she also keeps herself surrounded by a pack of 5 or 6 friends at all times. Sometimes it's less about your beauty being intimidating and more about, do I have to walk up to this whole group and have 8 people judge me instead of just one? I commented this under another comment in this thread, so this is a direct cut and paste. Absolutely. True story. There was this really pretty girl in my friend group, all young 20-somethings, in San Diego. We'd hang out, go to parties, go to concerts, go to the beach, etc. I never even considered asking her out because she was way out of my league. One night she and I were the last of our group at the bar. She has no car, so I offer her a ride home. She invites me in for a beer. Cool. We're watching late night TV and she leans her head on my shoulder. Fine, we're buds, right? Then her hand is on my thigh. Weird. I turn to look at her and she's looking in my eyes. I ask if she's okay and she says she'd be better if I kissed her. WTF? She's like a 9 and I'm a 6 at best, maybe a Scranton 8. But, yeah. We make out for a bit, but when I go to cop a feel she breaks it off and says, "We've both had a lot to drink. Maybe you should sleep here tonight." I see I've blown it and say, "Sure. Thanks." She heads to the bedroom and I kick off my shoes and stretch out on the couch. A couple of minutes go by and she comes back and says, "Are you coming?" What the actual? Yeah. That was December 12, 1981. We married April 3, 1982. Still going strong. If it wasn't for her, never would have happened. Did your friends actually invited me, or are you just being nice to not make me feel left out? Edit, just context. My boyfriend brings me around his friends all the time and I always have a nice time. They are all really nice to me. I don't really take much space because I'm shy and also they don't speak the same language as me, lol. Just saw a video of guys talking about how much they hate when their friends bring their GFS with them and it got me thinking, what if they actually do hate me, lol. Edit 2, thanks people. I didn't mean this question to be very serious. Seems like it all depends on just being authentic and nice towards each other. I understand it's important to have guys only time, as I also love girls only time, so I don't have problems with that. Just wanted to hear other people's perspective. Thanks, smiley face. What hurts thee is sudden pressure. For example, if I am running away from my neighbor Jim who just caught me in his lawn, my balls are gently slapping against my leg, which does not hurt. However, when Jim catches me and kicks me in the balls, that is a very sudden application of a very high amount of pressure, which hurts quite a lot. What does it feel like to get hit accidentally, not kicked purposefully but like, flicked, etc., in the a sharp and intense pain that radiates into the lower abdomen. If I had to describe it, it'd be like a super intense and sharp stomach ache. On the balls themselves, you probably know already. Haven't you ever taken a hit to the ovaries or kidney? It's pain to an organ. Is it okay for me to give you, while we're strangers, a compliment, even though I'm not trying to flirt or score a date? Or would me complimenting you give you mixed signals? This one is tough. On the one hand, you'll see tons of guys talking about how they hate that they're rarely complimented and how they remember the few times they have been fondly. On the other hand, because it is so rare, it's also pretty easy to spin it up into something more than it is, and that's for a generally emotionally healthy guy. For the guys out there who aren't, you're running a risk. Maybe your best bet is to go with something like I do not want to have with you, but you do look really nice in that shade of blue even though I do not want to have with you. What happens to your balls when you run? Are they just banging around? Do they stick between your thighs? Do they end up tucked? I've been dying to know, thanks. Update, did not expect this to blow. Thank you for the awards and all of the insightful and valuable information. For most answers I received, I had more questions which were answered before I could even ask them. I can now say that I know what happens to your balls when folks are in motion or stationary. Again, thanks y'all. This had been bugging me for a while, lol. The nutsack isn't always floppy. It scrunches up or loosens. They don't flop when scrunched. Also, underwear keeps it in place. What do you think about C-section scars? I have one and I think it's ugly. It juts out and there's a shelf. I'm otherwise quite fit looking, I'm just self-conscious about it. Edit, wow, didn't expect this comment to gain so much traction. Thank you all kind strangers, you've made me feel so much better / confident about my body. It is a modern miracle that my kid and I are still alive today, so that is something to be very grateful about. I have an ugly scar on my stomach from a surgery I had to get as a baby and another really ugly scar on my shoulder from a different surgery. I'm self-conscious about mine too, but I wouldn't be any less attracted to someone because of a scar. A guy friend told me that all guys are capable of turning off their minds. Like, if you had a bad day you could just shut that off for a moment and distract yourself pretty easily with something else. And that's why men are less likely to constantly talk about their feelings and become emotional. Edit, wow. So, apparently he's right in a way. Now I'm wondering if there's some kind of scientific explanation for this, or if I'm just a weird human girl who can't just will myself to stop thinking. I'm jealous. Edit 2, whoa, this got a lot more attention than I thought it would. Thank you all for your responses. To summarize what I have learned, it seems it is a learned coping mechanism most men can do, but it is not necessarily specific to men, just more common I think. To clarify where I come from, I personally feel more stressed when I am trying to avoid something that is on my mind. If I personally force distraction, I end up being out of it 50+% of the time and miserable all the time. My ex couldn't understand why I got pissed every time he tried to divert a serious / emotional conversation to something more uplifting, but that's just how I function. Smiley face, I do not speak for all women, I may just be weird. Okay, this is a question I've literally had for years. Kinda a weird one, but bear with me. If a dude gets a boner while just cuddling or whatever, does that always mean that they are actually in the mood? Like, I always wondered if it ever goes up, but you don't even wanna frick, ah ha ha ha. I never want to assume that a guy actually wants to have, just cause his knob does. I'm genuinely confused by LMAO. Okay, I feel like some people are misinterpreting my question. I'm aware that random stiffies can come out of thin air, but I'm asking more about whether or not it can happen, and the dude not even be down for it, you know? Edit. Alright, the consensus seems to be, it doesn't mean that they are specifically wanting that, but they usually won't be opposed to a dance with no pants if their schlong is ready to go, got it? Correct me if I'm wrong, ah ha ha ha. Thank you to all the boys who are giving me explanations, lol, I've enjoyed reading them. After a job, what should I do with your? Like, just swallow and then back away and not touch it more? I feel like it must be cold and wet and unpleasant, just laying there all floppy and wet like that, so I have the urge to like dry it off with my hair or boobs or something, but then that might be annoying to keep touching it. I just feel like I'm going, well, I'm done and dropping it, and it would be nicer to maybe keep it warm in some way afterwards. Like, just move up a little bit and rest my boobs around it for a bit. Or just don't touch it anymore.